That story is because I had a dream for a long time, since I was 15 years old, that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to own my own business. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering and I did my master's in computer science and engineering. My entire career I've been working in new technology and designing new products, solving problems for clients, like your telematics products, connected cars, navigation products in your car, then connected appliances. So it's always been in the new technology and connected design space.
Welcome to Connections. My name is Glenn Gould, and I'm here today with my friend Latha Ravi. Latha, you are here in Peachtree City with the Flying Locksmiths, but there's a lot more to your story, and we hope we find out a little bit about that today. But introduce yourself to our viewers, if you would.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks for having me here on your show. My name is Latha Ravi. I'm the president and owner of the Flying Locksmiths. We are security specialists right here in Peachtree City, Georgia, and we service all of the south side of Atlanta. My husband and I, we own this business together, and we are a local family-owned business.
And so you introduced, I had the opportunity to meet your husband when we came in, and his name is Ravi, and your last name is Ravi. Explain how that works.
I confuse the heck out of everybody. My last name Ravi is actually his first name Ravi because when I was born and raised in India many years ago, our custom, when you get married, you take your husband's first name as your last name. Fortunately, I got married in the US and I thought I'll do something cultural, and so I took my husband's first name as my last name. Had to go to court to do that because when you get married in the US, automatically you take your husband's last name. So that's how I ended up as Latha Ravi, and his name is Ravi Somasundaram. But it confuses everybody.
Yeah,
but it does confuse everybody.
But that's great. And how long have you been in Peachtree City?
Since 2003.
And what brought you here?
I came here to work for a company here locally and as head of engineering, software engineering.
Okay.
So I design new products. I'm an engineer, and I used to head up engineering in my past life.
Yeah, and I know a little bit about that, but tell us just a little bit about your educational background and the engineering part, and how you because it's really pretty interesting, the stuff that I've heard.
Thank you, Glenn. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering and I did my master's in computer science and engineering. My entire career I've been working in new technology and designing new products, solving problems for clients, like your telematics products, connected cars, navigation products in your car, then connected appliances. So it's always been in the new technology and connected design space.
And how did you go from being an engineer an engineer to being an owner of a franchise business?
All right. That story is because I had a dream for a long time, since I was 15 years old, that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to own my own business. I got married to my husband in my 20s, and we always wanted to own a business together, but the time was not right and the ideas were not right.
Sure.
And then about 6 years ago, we said, okay, now or never, and looked at different concepts, and we wanted to be in the community doing service, but we wanted to bring our technology expertise to people. And I was working in the security industry from the automotive, designing products in that. And then when we went looking for different concepts, we really liked this. It's a 75-year-old company, started by a World War II veteran, and they started franchising just about 6 years ago when we went looking. It was a brand new entrepreneurial venture. And it just spoke to us because we can be of service all day in the community.
Well, you mentioned the community more than once, and I know that when I first noticed Flying Locksmiths about 6 years ago, it was just, and you can't miss the vans. So I mean, but the truth is, I noticed it because everywhere I went, you were involved in something, and so that really spoke to me. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that are important to you that you get involved in, and then we'll talk a little bit about the technology of the work that you do too.
I believe community is extremely important. We're a connected world. In everything I do, I want people to have a great quality of life and have great experiences with me, with my teams, with whatever I do. So with that, I like the startup fate. If you're not involved in it, you should get involved in it. It's an entrepreneurial venture. I'm very involved in the local chambers with how we can bring the community together, the businesses, small businesses, and the government, and how we can have a cohesive environment to be able to grow. I'm very involved with children. and mentor kids. I'm a volunteer judge with the First Robotics. And on a personal basis, I believe in good health of mind and body. I practice yoga and I teach yoga and mindfulness in the community. So these are some ways that I get involved in the community.
And so in your spare time, you actually run a business, I guess.
No, I run my business is my main thing.
No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I think
my business partner may say that.
You're involved in, but I mean, obviously that makes you connected, and people get to know, like, and trust you, and they want to do business with you. And I know that I had a misconception when I first met you. Flying Locksmiths, my whole experience with locksmith is, I'm locked out of my house, I'm locked out of my car, hey, let's call a locksmith. And you guys do so much more than that. Why don't you talk a little bit about the breadth of what you do for businesses and the security that you bring?
Thank you, Glenn. Yeah, it's a common misconception because of the name. So be careful what name you choose for your business, because that might set the tone for who comes to you or who doesn't. The Flying Locksmiths, we fly with the technologies. And the locksmithing is one of our services we offer. We focus on commercial clients. So the commercial buildings, we work with business owners to identify your security risks in your building, whether it's a school, whether it is a hospital, a manufacturing building, right? Each business and each building is unique on how the security risks are for that business. So we identify that, and then we help you mitigate that. So we do all the new technologies like video surveillance systems, artificial intelligence-based analytics. We do access control where you can wave your hand to enter a building, or you can, use your fingerprint or retina scan or facial recognition, mask detection, temperatures, for the pandemic to measure your temperature.
Wow.
But we also do traditional technologies like mechanical doors and locks and keys, which are going to stay forever, but they have to integrate well with the software and the electronics. That is our specialty. We come in, we'll help you understand your risks, evaluate and prioritize your risks. And if you have infinite money, you can do everything at the same time, but nobody has that. So we help you multi-year how to get more secure year over year. Yeah. And that is how we help you. And then we have a reactive side to our business, which is if you call our client services line, which is 1-800-MIX-KEYS, we will then dispatch our tech for your problem. So if the restaurant is unable to open their door or close their door, or they have a break-in, then we can dispatch a tech to help them out.
Oh, great. So, and one of the things that I thought was really great about what you do, and you came out to our place and you showed us everything, but said, obviously, these are the most important things to solve. It would be great if you took this next step, but if you can't, that's cool. We're here to give you what level of service you need. And that's a word that really is kind of synonymous with you guys, and that is service. I mean, you're just so service oriented.
Thank you, Glenn. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you touched on that. Educating someone is very important, because what I found, I was designing products for banks and pharmacies where they were getting hit by criminals. And with the oxycodone, the pharmacists were being killed. And then in the banks, the criminals were stealing cash, and the tellers were getting hurt. So at that time, I found we were able to, through the tracking products in my past life, be able to apprehend the criminals, but it was very reactive. Right. We caught the crime, and then we apprehended the criminal, which was good. We apprehended the criminal. So we want to educate on this business people to be armed with knowledge. So if they're armed with knowledge, you're going to be better prepared. And we tell everybody, whether you're commercial or residential, please have a security plan. And we actually assist clients on how to create a security plan. Once you have a plan, you're confident, and then you're inspired to take action, and you're not acting out of fear. When we act out of fear, then really we're stressed out, and it's not a good situation. Right? Yeah. So education is a big part of what we do in the community.
Yeah. So I want to go back a little bit to the personal side, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
You said were you born in India?
I was born and raised in India, in Chennai.
When did you come to the States?
Okay. Should I say I'm forever 24?
That's fine. That's fine.
I came to the United States in 1988, end of 1988, to do my master's in computer science and engineering. I studied in Oakland University, Michigan. That's close to the Chrysler Tech Center and in Rochester Hills area. So if people are from Michigan who are viewers here, you might be able to relate to it. So I call myself, when people say, where are you from? I'll say Peachtree City, Georgia. When they ask me, where are you really from? I'm from Michigan.
Okay. Well, I'm familiar with that area. I used to travel up that way. In a previous life, I called on companies that were up there, Target and Walmart and Kmart, and not Walmart, but Kmart was up there, and so I spent some time up there. And so then you came here in the 80s, and then you came here, you said
2003.
2003. And when did you get married?
1990.
Okay. So up there.
Yes, I got married in Michigan.
Okay.
In Troy, Michigan.
And what did Ravi do before?
Ravi has an MBA in management information systems, and he was head of IT, information technology.
Okay.
So I focused on engineering and software engineering, and he focused a lot on IT. He did enterprise-wide systems for companies, and both of us had technology background.
And your parents are still in India, right?
Yes,
they're going to be here, from what I understand.
Yes, they're going to visit me briefly. I'm so grateful to God for in the pandemic. They are safe. They're going to come visit me very soon for Thanksgiving, and I'm looking forward to it.
So if you wouldn't mind, tell us, I know that we're always interested in knowing people and when they have different cultures or different cultural experiences. Tell us a little bit about Indian culture that may be something that the average person from the States wouldn't know.
All right. India is very diverse in terms of the types of cultures, people, religions. There's over 26 different languages. There's a national language which is called Hindi, and each state has their different language. My mother tongue or language is called Tamil, and Hindi is the national language. But we were under the British rule till 1947, and so most schools there teach English. So I was raised and educated in an English convent run by Irish Catholic nuns. And so I went to a Catholic school my entire, till my 12th grade, studied in a convent. And so every day I attended Mass, I read the Bible. So we believe in one God, and there are different religions.
Sure.
So the belief is that a religion is a way for you to be able to practice the belief in one God.
Okay.
And then there are many, many vegetarians in India. That's a very curious fact about India. And India has both mountains on the north side and has tropical on the south side. Very diverse climate, diverse languages and people, mostly hardworking. And the vegetarian food is very interesting if you haven't eaten it. It's some consider it spicy, some don't. At home, we don't make it very spicy. Some restaurants cook it very spicy. And the vegetarian food is very well balanced. So if you're going to become a vegetarian, I strongly recommend you look at Indian vegetarian food to see how it has all the balanced protein, carbohydrates, calcium before you can eat it.
And you're a vegetarian.
Yes, I'm a vegetarian.
And you were sharing that some people in your culture, when I was talking to you about this before, they can't even sit at a table with someone who is eating
meat or seafood. Yeah, my grandma couldn't. My mom would still have.
Now you say couldn't because they just couldn't take it, or couldn't because of their conviction?
Couldn't because they are not used to the smell.
Okay,
I mean,
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, they respect everybody.
Sure.
Everybody has their own culture, but because they were not raised to eat at the same table as someone who's eating meat, the look of the chicken or meat, it doesn't sit well in their mind more than anything.
And
else.
when you were growing up in India, did you know that you would eventually come to the States, or was that a result of your Catholic education, or?
I think around 15, 16 is when I really wanted to come to the States. I started thinking about coming to the United States, and I had a choice when I was going to go to college and when I graduated, whether I come to the US or whether I go to Japan. I wanted to study robotics, and I really had an eye on Japan also. And then I realized that I have an upper hand with the language here, English, although it's British and Indian English. It was much better than not knowing Japanese. So I made the choice to come here, and my older sister was already here in the US. She was studying in University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And so I had somebody from my family.
And is she still here?
She's still here. She's in Texas.
Where?
In Houston.
In Houston, okay.
Yeah.
I used to live in Texas.
She's a PhD, chemical engineering.
So, and that's one thing I also, you all that in your family are so well educated. and it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that part of Indian culture is education is really, really important.
Yes, very important. Extremely important. I was raised in a family. Both my grandfathers are engineers. They are my mentors. And my dad is a CPA in India. He retired as the chairman of the Madras Port Trust. My mom, dad, my grandparents always emphasized all kids, whether male or female, minimum masters.
Really?
So tall order.
That's right. That's right.
You couldn't settle for anything less.
Yeah.
So I was raised in a family that assumed that you're going to do a minimum master's. Therefore, I did.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about your experience here in Peachtree City. I always try to ask, some questions that just kind of, what's your favorite thing about living in the area?
I love Peachtree City. I think it is the most beautiful, the best city in the entire world. Okay? And that is why I live here. So a few years ago, I wanted to briefly go out of the state and come back. And then my husband said, where do you really want to put roots? Anywhere in the world. And I said, Peachtree City, Georgia. Because Peachtree City, Georgia has so many trees and it's nature, filled with nature, lakes, and it's just, the trails are beautiful through the woods. It's very calming, very healing for my spirit. And I'm a Reiki healer also. So for me, I believe in the healing nature of the trees and that aspect of nature. But the other aspect is we have the best community ever in the South Side. And Peachtree City community is so close-knit, very helpful, very safe, and people go out of their way to create the community. So I feel at home over here. Yeah. And so he said, okay, my wife wants to be in Peachtree City. We're going to put the business here. We're going to live here and we're going to serve the South Side of Atlanta. Well, so that's how I came to Peachtree City. I love the city. It's the best city in the world. And
if you had to pick a favorite restaurant?
Anywhere or in Peachtree City?
Anywhere. I readily tell people it's no longer in business, but my favorite restaurant ever was the Green Onion in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So,
I have a lot of favorite restaurants. So please, all the restaurants I endorse locally, please don't be offended.
No. I forgot how connected you are, and you might leave somebody out. So forgive her. Okay, forgive her for me putting her on the spot. She loves all of you.
But I do like Italian oven. I like green ginger. I like Thai jasmine in Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. And I like Star of India here in town.
Graham likes Star of India.
Is it? And then there's a Vietnamese place here right opposite to the old Walmart.
Okay.
And I like that very much too. So I do like all our local restaurants. Those of you who think you have to go all the way to Atlanta or somewhere else, please do come to the South Side. We have fantastic restaurants here.
It's funny, you've mentioned the South Side more than once, and I've said it more times than I should probably, but when I was growing up, I lived on the north side of Atlanta. I was born in Massachusetts, but we moved to Atlanta, and the rule was if you're going to live south of I-20, you were going to live south of the Georgia border. You just didn't go in between 20 and the Georgia border. And we've lived here now at 12 years, and we love the South Side too. It really is. It's a hidden gem, and obviously we're starting to see a lot of growth here, and I think we're going to continue to see that.
Yeah, and all of the neighboring cities like Newnan, Tyrone, Fairburn, Fayetteville, so many beautiful cities. I hear a lot of people are relocating from California, from New York. They have discovered the hidden gem, but please don't drive our home prices. We need to be affordable to our kids, grandkids, right? Our families, our friends. So the only thing I would caution people relocating here, please don't drive our prices out of reach to the local people.
Well, I think that unfortunately some of that's happening.
That's true.
I think that's just the nature of the way it works. But certainly you have planted roots here, and you've planted your service heart here, and we are grateful for all you do in our community. You do so much, and you serve on boards, and you educate people, and you teach people yoga. Just my goodness, I'm overwhelmed by how much you do, and I'm grateful to know you too. So.
Well, thank you, Glenn. I'm grateful to know you too. They always say like-minded people come together, and I think you are very service-minded too. Well, and that's why you do all of this.
It's interesting because the only person I knew on Leadership Fayette was you.
Oh.
So we neither one of us knew we were signing up for this program.
True.
Yeah, but but there we were together. So I think that you're right. People who have like minds do end up in doing things together. So, well, Latha, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. If you would, tell people how to get in touch with you so that they can have you come out and examine their situation, give them some ideas on things they can improve, make them feel safer. And just tell them how they can do that.
So you can go to our website, www.flyinglocksmiths.com. There's an S at the end. Or you can call us at 678-310-1978 or 1-800-MIX-KEYS. And you can speak to a person, you can tell them what your problem is. You can also email us at southatlanta@flyinglocksmiths.com and tell us what your situation is. Photos really help us, and based on that, we will respond back to you. If the tech needs to be scheduled, we will schedule a technician to come out and help you. We are primarily focused on commercial buildings, so we request commercial requests. We are unable to assist you with automotive lockouts or automotive jobs.
As I found out, because of course I had a lockout. The first thing I did was call Latha.
Thank you.
And she quickly told me, call the police. They will open your car. And so that was quite helpful. You helped even though you didn't do it. So, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I'm Glenn Gould with Connections and with Dry Cleaning Connection, and I appreciate you watching today. Make sure you check out Latha's website at flyinglocksmiths.com. If you need service for security, they're the ones to go to. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye now.
Thank you.